Okay, and so with the bat wing plank, what we're trying to facilitate is we're trying to facilitate a little bit more retraction of the scapula, okay, and get some load through those tissues at the same time. So if you remember, we're talking about shoulder flexion versus shoulder abduction. If we have limitations in abduction versus shoulder flexion, if it's limited in abduction, we might want to try and facilitate more retraction of the scapula, because in abduction, the scapula doesn't have to slide around the rib cage as much to facilitate that humerus moving in the sagittal plane, okay? So it's a nice kind of starting position to work on that. But like we said as well, we can also use it as a way to restore some freeing strategies between the rib cage and the head, and also the eyes. So when we're trying to facilitate more retraction of the scapula, that's going to couple with that extension of the rib cage. And when we extend the rib cage, if we were to free that then with the head, we want the head to move into flexion, so we can maintain that extension of the thoracic spine, a little bit of elevation of the rib cage as well. And we can work on some gaze stability work here as well, which we'll show you. But really the goal is to try and get that extension of the rib cage and get that flexion of the head, so we can facilitate a little bit more of a challenging coordinative strategy between the rib cage and the head. But also we'll get a nice bit of lengthening through the posterior cervical spine as well, particularly the upper cervical spine. So the way we'd set this up is we'd have Connor position his upper back against the wall. We'll have him walk the feet out a little bit more so he's at an angle and his pelvis is off the wall as well. We want the humerus to be abducted at around 45 degrees of abduction. And what we're going to do is we're going to build pressure through the elbow into the wall and drive that rib cage into a little bit more opening in the front, a little bit more elevation. So his upper back is hovering from the wall here, okay? We can bring the head off the wall a little bit as well. Now we'll feel a lot of load going through the upper back here too. So it's a great way to facilitate some concentric contractions in the retractors of the scapula. What we can do here as well is you can work on that head and ribcage association by using the eyes as a guide as well. So if I have Connor stare at my finger here, maintain that opening of the chest in front and keep the eyes on the finger as he slowly flexes the chin towards the chest. And you can hold that there, and then we can come back up into the starting position and repeat that a couple of times. Nice slow motion, but you should feel a little bit more lengthening of the upper cervical spine. Do you feel that kind of lengthening of those tissues there? Yeah. And just maintain gentle nasal breathing with this. But it's a really nice one, instead of the quadruped position, where we're not really getting that retraction of the scapula and extension of the thoracic spine. It's a great way to get some load into those tissues as we facilitate that unloading of the posterior cervical spine and get that dissociation between those tissues as well. So it's a really nice one.